Brevin, ever been in a situation where you don't study or don't prepare for the exam and then somehow you actually do really well on the exam?
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Been
I've
there?
been there.
Yeah.
I've been there enough times, and it's one of those things that you fall back on it too many times. It does come back.
Right. But sometimes it can be magical.
Yes.
Right? That's what this show is going to be like today.
Ooh, magic.
You know how I always prepare and have my notes for the show? I got nothing. I'm just going to be honest. I got nothing for today's show.
That means it's going to be fantastic.
Nothing, which means it's going to be great. And I didn't do anything to prepare for this show because I'm in a Grizzlies depression. Man.
Well, the thing is you're not the only one.
No.
At this point.
I know.
And we have not had to have this feeling all year. It's the first time the team has lost 3 games in a row. Mm-hmm. It's the first time in my life I've lost 4 games in a row with teams that I am fully invested in that have all lost at the buzzer. I've never had this happen in my life.
All in a week.
All in 1 week.
Yeah.
I mean, we said it started with Rutgers. They're just playing a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Beat Michigan in Michigan.
Yeah.
It comes down to the last play. The ball kind of gets fumbled at the top of the key. They kick it to the wing. Guy makes a 25-foot three-point shot, contested to win the game. Heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Feel bad for my brother. Then we come the next night, and we play against the New York Knicks. That's a great game. We're watching it. There we go. Teams are battling back and forth. Gets down to the end of the game. They drive, they kick. We'll get more into it. He makes a 3 to win the game. Mm-hmm. Then we come back the next night.
Yeah.
Like, this is no way in the world this shit can happen again.
Not 3 nights in a row.
We play against San Antonio, and we have another one of those nuclear quarters where the other team scores 40. They had 46 in this second quarter. But they make a tremendous comeback. Credit to the Grizzlies. And De'Aaron Fox just, that's the dagger. And then, we're not done. Let's add true insult to injury. This isn't a fight back against the Atlanta Hawks. You have the lead. And not just have the lead, you have a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. And of course, my trusty partner sitting next to me informs everyone. Don't get too comfortable. This team has come back before from 15 and 19 down and 5 and 6 or 7 minutes respectively in fourth quarters. What happens? This damn Hawks team comes back.
Yeah.
And not only, we have the ball for the last possession and for the last shot. So you feel good. Just get the last shot. Whatever happens is going to overtime. Not having to defend and stop somebody.
Right.
I gotta take the hood off now. I'm getting into it. We get a turnover that leads to a game-winning layup
Buzzer beater.
on the other end.
Yeah.
I just looked up to them and said, what have we done wrong?
What have we done wrong? Just, man, I was kneeling down next to Shantony, who she's one of our PR people. And I was kneeling down next to her because we were talking about who I was going to get on the show. And I basically said, I'm going to take either the game-winning shot or Dez. And Dez has the ball, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to have Dez either way right now. And then that happens right in front of me. When he caught the ball, he was right in front of me, and I went down to one knee, like the old Tebow. Put my head down, put my arm on her, and just said, wow. Wow. Are you serious? Did this just happen?
I did not move from my seat. You know, when I watch the game, a lot of times
I was leaving, and I saw you were still sitting there with your headset on. I was like, Brevin's going to be late for the postgame show. Because I didn't see you move.
I call the games a lot of times like this, just watching the game. For what reason, I don't know. And when he made the shot, it was like it wasn't real. Like I just had to sit there for a second, and then I was looking at nothing. That could not have just happened. And everybody's like, well, they're going to go review? There's nothing to look at. The game is over.
I know. I mean, maybe we'll get a 1/10 of a second back.
It was,
I mean, that was best case scenario.
where all you can think to do is dunk the ball from the out of bounds play.
Yeah.
All right, it's been heartbreaking. And I know that there's a lot of fans that had to be. They just say, what's going on?
And what's amazing is, before this stretch of games, we played Phoenix and beat them at the buzzer. As called 12 game, or not at the buzzer, got the game-winning shot late,
exactly.
and then Durant had the shot at the buzzer, doesn't get it to go, and you win that one. This is now, what is it, 7 straight that have been decided in the last minute, or like one possession in the last minute. Pretty remarkable. All right, let's say hello. Hello, welcome to Night Court. I'm Rob Fisher. He's Brevin Knight. You can catch us on Twitter at The Fish Nation, at Brevin Knight 22. The show is on Twitter at Night Court 22. And you can watch. If you're listening to the podcast, we thank you. But you can watch each and every week as well on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. Just go to the Bluff City Media YouTube channel and search Night Court, and boom, you get to watch each and every week as well. All right, so...
It's like, don't we got to go back to it?
I know. I want to go back to the Phoenix game. That was fun. That was fun. Good win. Entertaining basketball game. Didn't play your best, but Phoenix, they're kind of you don't know what you're going to get from them. I thought you got a really good Phoenix team. All 3 of their big 3 played really well that night.
Well, yeah, we really hadn't seen a Bradley Beal game in a while.
Yeah.
And we saw a Bradley Beal game, and that game really got himself going. Devin Booker, Durant is who he is. And for them in that game, it was the 3-point shots. Grayson Allen was huge in making threes, but then he was also huge for us on the other end. We got a foul late in the game that was a turnover to give the Grizzlies the basketball back. And so you give them credit for, I think they made 23s in that basketball game. And so the 3-point line was a friend of theirs, but the Grizzlies made enough plays. They dominated on the backboards, got enough possessions in the game to be able to give themselves a chance. And then John did what he does more times than not for this team is make big plays and turn around a game from what the first half looked like for him individually. In the second half, it was night and day.
Yeah.
And the Grizzlies needed all of that sunshine that they got from him in the second half.
Yeah, and then the next game, just a tough finish. Anunoby hits the wide open 3, and the Knicks win that one. And that one stung because you felt like, all right, what you had coming up with San Antonio, that hey, homestand's looking good, get this win, be a great start to this homestand. And then you fall short on what looked like a defensive breakdown.
Well, the thing is, first off, he couldn't get any defensive rebounds in the game.
No.
That was number one. That hurt throughout the body of the game. And you had a game where you kept Karl Anthony Towns under wraps because he was in foul trouble the entire game. And so you felt like, okay, you got a chance. This is what I say, and this is just basketball. I'm not gonna get much into like what. Just in basketball, at the latter part of that game, they continued to run the same play over and over, which was Mikal Bridges sets the first screen to try to get Ja off of him to now guard Jalen Brunson. And then they ran Josh Hart into the second screen at the top. So now Brunson can play with Zach Edey, who's guarding Brunson in that situation. Guarding Josh Hart in that situation. Well, they showed that it became a go-to play and something that they were being successful, because really, we forget Brunson made the big 3 possession before to be able to give them a chance even later on. And so the only thing at that point is either you have to change the coverage because you know what's happening, or you got to change personnel. One of the two things at that juncture had to happen, or you try to blow the play up all at once when they come and set the first screen, because it's just 2 guards. Just jump them right away. And make him have to give the ball to Bridges to make Bridges have to make the play. But don't allow the guy that you know can make plays, not just for himself, but for somebody else, just to get the ball out of his hands. Mm-hmm. And so you don't do that. And so he comes across The hurt part is when you are up by 2 points. And Taylor Jenkins said it in his press conference that he's going to be kicking himself because he told Vince to go help. And the thought process is you don't need to help because you're up 2 points. It doesn't. Only thing you want to say in that timeout when you go sit down is, John Morant, whoever is going to be guarding Brunson, crowd him at the three-point line, force him to drive. And you continue to reinforce to everybody else. If you are guarding someone at the three-point line, it doesn't matter if they drive and they drop it off and they get it done. I don't care. You have no help responsibility beyond. And the one thing I say is that is something that is repeated over and over before you walk on the court. The next time you're stepping on the court, everybody is telling you, if you're guarding a three-point guy, don't leave him. But what a lot of people are like, well, Santi left. I said, well, the problem was, though, is because when Vince activates help defense, now it throws everybody into a different mindset than what you probably should have been doing. And so what happens to Santi is, all right, now we're going to help. Now I'm zoning up because he just left and he's going. So now I got all these people here. Mm-hmm. The problem was, I don't know if it was drilled enough into, it doesn't matter, you stay there. But the initial, at the end of the day, you should have never gone, and it should never have been a help defensive situation because you're already up to 2 points. It doesn't anything on a drive. Jaren wants to come and help, it's fine. They shoot it, they tip it in, so what? Yeah. You get another opportunity maybe another way, or you go into overtime. So I just thought it was the communication of what had to be done in that moment wasn't good enough to be able to win the game in that situation. And then you give Brunson credit for making the pass. You give Anunoby credit for being ready to catch and shoot, in which he had a couple of big-time threes in that second half that hurt the Grizzlies.
Yeah. All right, so then that was number one. Then number two, San Antonio. Grizzlies went in with a makeshift lineup. Sat a lot of guys that night. It's frustrating to me when these games, we're in March now. These games are of utmost importance, every one of them. And now you're 1-1 on the homestand. You still have Oklahoma City coming up. We need to make sure we get this victory, period. And a lot of guys sat with soreness. And we've talked a lot about it on the show. Neither one of us really understand the NBA today on how guys sit out and when they don't. But I thought you dumped this one from the get-go. And then you got yourself in a situation where they played well. They got big games. You didn't defend well. Got a monster, spectacular performance from Jaren Jackson Jr. that went to waste, and you lose the game in the closing seconds when De'Aaron Fox knocks down the shot. To me, that's maybe the worst loss of the year.
Yeah, because of the time of the loss and the way that it happened.
Yeah.
Like you said, like even with the amount of guys that you're sitting out, then that means that you then almost have to then even shorten the guys that are playing until you grab control of the basketball game. Then you can do the other guys. But in that second quarter, when they scored the 46 points, you had lineups and guys out there who hadn't played basketball in over a month.
Yeah.
And so now you're putting them into this situation against a team whose bench is one of the most explosive benches in the game. And they have a lot of individual talent on their team. And so they got comfortable. And it took a heroic effort in the third quarter for Jaren to get them back into the basketball game. But again, it just came down to another situation where just basketball. We got away, and I kind of call basketball, it's just like this. I talk about before All-Star break is one game. Post All-Star break is a whole different game. The basketball changes in this last 28 to 30 game stretch that you have to finish if you're a playoff team. Everything you do is about winning that game. Everything you do is about winning that game. There is no longer, well, we got this next. It's about winning that game. And so in that game, that means that every situation matters. So to give up the 46 with the lineups that they had in the second quarter was tough. It's going to make it hard for you to come back. Well, they did come back. But then late in the game again, Zach Edey had done a good job in some of these switches. They couldn't stop the pick and roll, so they just started switching everything. And he had done a good job in some. But once it gets late in the game, now you have to now try to take an advantage away from your opponent, whatever that may be. And I felt like it's no knock on Zach. I think he is doing the best that he can, and he did it enough time. Came up with a block on Fox earlier, came up with a block on Castle after they had the little scrum down. But now it's winning time. And so now you got to put people in their best position. And so San Antonio continued to run the same action to get him to be the main defender on a fast guy. And so what happened late in the game is you get the three-point shot. He knocks down, shoots a three, Zach fouls him. It's tough. I'm going to contest, but I'm a big guy trying to contest the three-point line. It's not what I normally do. Yeah. And so at that instant, I thought before that, they had an opportunity to change the lineup. So you had better switchables on the floor for screen and roll basketball. And they didn't have that much size that you had to worry about how are you going to rebound a missed shot. But then you go to shoot the free throws. I said it on TV, when there is 30 seconds, you know that there's going to be multiple possessions down the end of this game. You would like to keep your timeout because you don't know scenario of what's going to happen if you need to advance the ball another time.
At the end, yeah.
But now, because it's 28 seconds, you go full length of the court. They've had success going the length of the floor, being able to get what they wanted to get. Whether it's fouls, they lived at the free throw line, or you got a good shot. So now, instead of it being stagnant basketball, which is take the ball out on the side, got to run a play, I got to throw it in bounds, you now have to make a decision of, am I shoot a three, am I going to the basket? But in the motion, they have to figure out, who am I guarding? Here they come. It enables you to still get a good look. And there was 3 free throws, so you had time to say whatever play. Converse, y'all think this is the best thing? Hey, let's do this. They use the timeout. You come out, and to be honest with you, they made a lucky shot. There's nothing. Jaren made a lucky shot. But great players make shots like that in those moments. And so you're like, okay, we make that. They have to call timeout. They come out. The problem was we came out with still a big lineup against a team with no bigs on the floor. Like, you're not worrying about the rebound is not. The first thing is being able to defend this small, quick lineup. I got to put people on the floor who are at least small and quick players. So if we do have to switch or not, then at least, again, I have a switchable defender that can at least have a chance of stopping. Now, we don't know whoever would have been in. Would you have stopped De'Aaron Fox? Would they have stopped? I don't know. But at least you give yourself a chance. So, but because we don't do that, then we come out and we do a defense that I have not seen us do all year. We've never seen run and jump defense from this team ever, all season. And so that's what they go to do. De'Aaron Fox passes the ball. Now, and this is just basketball. If I run and jump you, that means what? I don't want you to have the ball. So when you pass the ball, what's the thing I should do? Deny you the ball back. Mm-hmm. He passes the ball, but we let him get the ball back. So now that's one thing. The second thing is, if you are running and jumping from this side, everybody from the bench to the guys on the floor have to be yelling at Jalen Wells, send him right. Right. Don't let him go to his left. Scottie Pippen Jr. is coming from this way. But we watched this. It seems like nobody's saying everybody. I don't give a damn. You the person sitting in the back of the bench. Everybody should be yelling, send him right. We play him square up. This is one of the fastest players in the game. Still today. And he's one of the most clutch players. We let him go left hand dominant to a step back elbow jump shot without a contest. I mean, that's a practice shot for him. So he knocks it down. But conversely, what happens is you got no timeout. So now you got to throw it in. Santi has to shoot a desperation shot that doesn't go in. And so it's just those it's critical errors. And I said, every game, every situation, it all matters. And it's not just one, like everybody tells you, it's not just one person. Bro, we got 8 coaches, 9 coaches. Like it's incumbent upon everybody to all be on the same page with what is happening right now in this moment. Forget everything else. Right now, what has to be done to win this game? And in those two games, they didn't do in the moment things that needed to be done to give them a chance to win the game.
Yeah. So then there's Atlanta. Now, my frustration still goes back to what you threw out against San Antonio, because what happened against Atlanta, that can happen on any given night.
Yes.
You lose your best player a minute and a half into the game, and that changes the complexion of the game completely, especially considering who the hell was going to guard Jaren Jackson Jr. from Atlanta. So the whole game has changed completely. You lose it. Now, take away how you lost it. We know how you lost it. But you just lost the game. Just look at the losses, the total. Man, well, you couldn't afford that one because of what happened on Saturday night.
Yes, that was huge. The Saturday game pretty much set everything. Now it set these things into motion in terms of how much you now have to win games. Like
Right.
This is have to. And in that game, listen, Desmond Bain, he pulled the Jaren Jackson Jr. hero cape out. Pulled the cape out, put it on, and said, let's go, fellas. Triple-double, 35, 10, and 10. But it's something that I've continued to say, and as long as you have people playing positions that is not a normal position, these things can happen. We had 20 turnovers again in that game for 29 points from Atlanta.
And that's because we did a better job in the second half.
Yeah, because we had 13 for 20 points in the first half. Right. And the other, I don't know for the life of me what Scottie Pippen Jr. has done wrong enough to not warrant being in some of these games. And I say it's because I would like for Dez to be able to get a down screen to get the ball. Luke Kennard, get a screen to get the ball, and now play from there instead of having to now try to orchestrate and score. Like, it is hard when you take people out of their normal position. And like I said again, through the body of the game, it may work out. But in that crucial situation, when I need to get something
right now
is when it bites you in the ass. And how did it bite you in the ass? You're playing against the number one on-ball defender in the NBA, in Dyson Daniels. The number one on-ball defender in the NBA. I don't want my two guard to try to have to now create something against the best one-on-one defender in the league. Like, it's not something that we don't know. Dude is averaging 3 steals a game.
Yeah.
We saw in the first half how many times he got a hand on the basketball, whether it was a dude he was guarding or playing in a lane to get his hands on the ball. So again, we got to be better in situational basketball if we're going to have any realistic chance of winning the playoff series. Fuck. We got to get to the playoffs. We keep acting like, well, they're a playoff team. Shit, we're not. I don't see no X next to our name. I don't see no Y next to our name that says that you're in the playoffs. You're not in the playoffs yet. You're not outside. There is nothing that says that you won't be a play-in situation. Playing team. With the way that everyone else is playing. Bro, you have to be better in situational basketball. You cannot allow these games to slip away, because what are we going to say? We're going to beat Oklahoma City? Oh, don't worry about it. We'll get Dallas because Kyrie Irving went down? Oh, don't worry. New Orleans, they're not playing well, so you can't keep kicking the can down the road to think that this is going to get better because you'll beat the next team. We have to.
No, there are clearly problems. I mean, you're giving up over 120 virtually every night right now, which is not good. I mean, this team's record when they score 120 was fabulous, but now they've lost a bunch of them scoring 120 because they're giving up 130. The defensive ranking has gone from 5, 6, 7 to 8 within the last week because of the way that they're playing defense and the points that they're giving up. The offensive rebound thing is still a problem, the second chance points. The turnovers are still a problem. Those are things that need to be fixed. And right now there has been no sign of fixing them. You talk about how basketball's different after the All-Star break. All right, well, now you're getting down to, nuts and guts, as Elliot Perry would say. It's that time of year now. So all of those things, your margin for error is slimmer and your attention to detail has to be at an all-time high.
Let me tell you what the other thing is. Your players have to play. Like, that's the reality, bro. Your players have to play.
Yeah.
Like, between the team, the players, the medical, all of this stuff, you got to figure out a way to get your main guys on the floor to play games as you continue to move forward. At this juncture of the season, it is very hard for you to every night. Do you know every night now? This is when I felt like, oh, this is starting to become a problem. When every day we go to the game, and every day is Ja playing today? Is Dez playing today? And I don't know why Dez has been out there, but is our big three gonna play tonight? You don't ask that about Jaren because he's played every game except the first two. But you have to figure out a way to get your guys on the floor every night. And the thing is that nobody expects anybody to be at 100% at this point in the season.
No, nobody is.
There's nobody that's at that point. So if you're gonna have a realistic chance of being able to keep yourself in a position where you would like to have home court advantage, like everybody keeps saying, like, well, we don't want to play this team if they're 6. We don't want to play this team if they're 5. Well, bro, we don't have to play those same teams if we're 6 and don't have home court advantage, or if we're 5th and don't have home court advantage, or if you go into the play-in and now you don't know what the hell you're gonna have to do because you got to win that game and just to get to play. So the who you're playing is, I don't give a damn who you play. What your main goal should be is how do we continue to keep home court advantage? And the only way you're going to keep home court advantage with the games that they have to play is your players have to play. Like, there's no knock on John Conchar. There's no knock on Huff, on Cam Spencer, on trying to bring what's our new guy we just signed? We had Stevens, Lamar Stevens. There's no knock on those guys. G.G. Jackson, Vince, these guys are all guys that play a fantastic role to give this team a chance to win games. But role guys are not the guys that's going to win games at this juncture of the season with what the stakes are with this team. I was a role guy. And if we ever got to this point, I'm like, hey, man, bro, we need you, man. Like, it's like, well, God, you got minutes? Hey, nah, bro, I ain't been doing that all year. You know what I'm saying? Shit, that's not what they asked me to do.
Right.
They asked me to make sure for these 20 minutes that I do this. But for this end of the game, it's not for me to do. So they got it, and it comes down. Your best players are not on the floor. It makes it that much harder to win in winning time, in high-stake basketball games.
Yeah. Good news is Oklahoma City comes to town. Man, they're good.
Yeah, and they come to town with SGA coming off 51.
Fourth 50-point game of the year for him.
They're a machine.
They are a machine. And just, again, watching them the other night play defense is...
Swarm.
It's entertaining to watch them play defense is boring, but watching them play defense it's pretty impressive.
So no, it was also impressive. 2 games, they played San Antonio right after we did.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Yeah.
San Antonio put up 77 in the first half again. Now, what the difference is they only scored 50 in the second half, San Antonio.
Right.
Oklahoma City scored almost 80 in the second half. To give them, I think scored 146 in that game. So that was the difference. It was a scoring game, but when they had to buckle down and get stops, they got the stops to then extend the lead. Right now, the problem for the Grizzlies is you don't have to talk about offensively. Offensively, they still rolling. Even when they made the 4 threes in the basketball game, they rolled because they made 74. They had 74 points in the paint. So offensively, it's not an issue. As you said, defensively, we have gone the wrong way on defense.
Then we got at Dallas. Kyrie hurt his knee. Oh, no. Breaking news. Kyrie suffered a season-ending torn ACL. Oh, my God. That's terrible.
Listen, I never for any player, I never like to see someone's season end that way, in that type of injury, for how long it's going to take for him to be able to get back. Like, the effect on the team is going to be what it's been, but how much, bad for him, how many gut punches can the Dallas Mavericks take? You think about when they made the deal, when Anthony Davis played that first game, how dominant he was in that first half, and how scared everybody else was looking. Like, Gafford, Anthony Davis, P.J. Washington comes back, Christie that came from the Lakers, he has just elevated his game, and they got a leader, Kyrie Irving, playing basketball at the Grizzlies. Like, shoot, this team can be a dangerous team. To now, decimated.
Awful.
By injury.
Awful. And then we go to New Orleans, take on the Pelicans. Every game's a big game, Brevin.
I just want us to be better in situational basketball. That's all. I want it to be every possession. And they say that every possession counts now for this team.
Yeah.
Because the other teams are playing well. Lakers are playing well. Denver's going to continue to find ways to win games. The other team that you worry about is the goddamn Timberwolves. They got the weakest schedule left of all of these playoff teams. Mm-hmm. And so how do they keep them? The Golden State Warriors, they have just an injection of life. And so I say for the Grizzlies, you want to continue to stay in the top 6 as you go down this stretch. And you got to win the situations better. And defensively, you got to put up a better effort.
Yeah.
And you can't just worry and say that, well, I'll score you on the other end. You got to be able to come up with stops when stops are crucial.
Yeah. Any toasts? Anybody got a toast? Kenny, you got a toast?
No toast.
No toast?
No, this wasn't a toast.
Toast to Penny. Penny and the Tigers. How about that?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, win tonight, although by the time you listen to this, Tigers will have already won. They're going to
watch.
Yeah, so I'm just going to tell you right now, congratulations to Tigers. They got the regular season conference championship with their win last night over UTSA.
Shout out, Penny.
Good for Penny. All right. Yep. Well, that's going to do it. Not bad for no preparation.
Well, you know, you knew you didn't have to prepare for this one. You knew I had a lot to say.
Yeah, it was
about these games.
Hopefully, man, this is gonna. I mean, this will pass. Because that was brutal. All right.
It'll pass, but you got to make it pass. Like, it's not going to just pass on its own.
No, got to make it pass. There's the title of today's show.
There it is.
Make it pass. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks for tuning in here to Night Court. I'm Rob Fisher. You can get me on Twitter at TheFishNation. You can get Brevin on the Twitter as well at BrevinKnight22 and the show at NightCourt22. And don't forget, you can catch every episode, video of every episode at Bluff City Media YouTube channel. For BK, I'm Fish. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week on Night Court. I did that really well.
That was a good finish.
Yeah.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Night Court podcast. If you enjoyed Rob and Brevin, hit that like button, subscribe to the Bluff City Media YouTube channel, and enjoy the content. We will see you back here next time.